Gogan. I'm a community development specialist with Iowa State University Extension. I also I've been working with some communities in O'Brien County on a program that's called Marketing Hometown America, and it was a program that was developed North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska. Got a grant from the Department of Agriculture to develop a program to help rural communities identify ways to better market themselves as good places to live. And we had a really good group here in Sutherland that kind of took on the challenge and started this out. So what we're hoping to do tonight is have them talk a little bit about some of the things that they discussed during this study circle process, some ideas that they came up with, and then we're going to be looking to you all that if you have any other ideas that you want to add. And then we'll kind of make some decisions at the end as far as prioritizing some things. So maybe first off, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to have everybody just introduce yourself briefly. You probably all know each other, I just don't know everybody. Do you want to start?
Dan Moore, Superintendent, South O'Brien School.
John Peterson, my wife Jane Austin and I live just down the block here, and we have some rental houses that we have here in town.
Wonderful.
Jenny Johnson, I was actually on the committee, and I'm just around town, but also I'm a substitute teacher for a few of the schools in the area.
Wonderful. You want to go next?
Tony Larson, lived in the community pretty much all my life. On the fire department, involved with a lot of things.
Wonderful.
Steve Cook, my wife Wendy, been here in town for 21 years.
Okay, good.
Bruce Engelke, lived in the area all my life. I've been in town since 2001. Work here at GTE Manufacturing. I'm also on the city council.
Wonderful.
Sharon Linka, I have name market hometown variety. I've been here 22 years.
Good.
Doug Sweeney, I live here most of my life. I own a lumberyard in town on economic development.
Good.
My name is Darren Johnson. I'm a banker here in town.
Thank you.
Jim Johnson, and this is my wife Colleen, and I work with the economic development in town.
Good.
Mark Cody, Executive Director of the Little League Complex.
Bill and Bonnie Burns, we've been here all our life.
Retired.
And we're retired.
Laura Palmer, I'm from Paulina, and our meeting's tomorrow night, and we're here to support you guys.
Yay.
Brenda Curtis here from Paulina, here to scout. Everybody's welcome tomorrow night too.
John Erickson, Church of Christ.
Carolyn Rabaugh, 6 generations of my family have lived here, and I'm very interested in Sutherland, and I'm retired.
Good.
Nancy Hill, I'm the library director.
Bellevue Banks, and we just moved here a year ago, so I just wanted to share our input why we moved to Sutherland from Spencer.
Good.
Brian Banks.
Good.
Joe Sweeney, economic development.
Dennis Fogelman, plain old citizen.
Joel Holman Fogelman, I'm with him. And I'm on the city council, also on the economic development committee.
Great.
Joyce Zubud, me and my husband Kevin own Zub Shop, and I'm on economic development also.
Good.
Carrie Kackman, and I was part of this committee.
Yes.
Mike Flinders, local citizen, farmer.
I'll have you guys go in back if you don't mind. You're with the Marcus paper, right?
We have a lot of newspapers.
You want to introduce yourselves?
Mary Radke. We've lived here 20 plus years.
Okay, good.
I'm Sarah Fidelki. I am a Sutherland resident as well as employee of the O'Brien County Extension Office that works with Jane for these programs.
Yes, O'Brien County Extension helped sponsor this program.
Beth Bunkers, Iowa State Extension and Outreach.
Kate Stewart, Iowa State Extension and Outreach.
Ed Johansson, Sutherland, lived here all my life. I was a member of the committee.
Yes.
Carrie Brown, I am a nurse here in the community and also in Paulina, and I was part of the committee.
Good.
Sharon Flinders, I was the facilitator of the meetings and also have Flinders Tax and Accounting across the street and lifelong resident.
There's some chairs up here, guys.
I'm going to have Sharon take over, and if you all want to come over, there are good spots up here.
Yeah.
So first off, thanks for everybody for coming. We had, I thought, a great time with our study circle, and we discussed a lot of ideas, new ideas, old ideas, and we have all of our notes from all of our meetings are up on the board or on the wall and back in those corners, so if you want to feel free to read. I may have a booklet that we used, I think, in the kitchen, if somebody wants to look and see exactly what the program was that we followed. Oh, and Jenny has one too. It was a very good program. It was laid out really well for us, and I'm just going to get right into what we went through. This is just going to be a little bit of a summary. First off, our participants, not everybody was able to make it here tonight. Carrie did. Joel DeWeird was also in the committee. He has JJ's Customs. Don Hawk was another one of our committee people. He works for Independent Dental. And Larry Nellis, he was not able to make it either. He's been a lifelong citizen pretty much, and he's retired. He was our mayor for a while, years back. And Jay Norton is also a member of our community that wasn't able to. He owns the hen house in Spencer. Our first session was focused on what is our connection to the community, and it was about kind of getting to know each other and getting to know what we all were bringing to the table. This is just a list of the things that as the committee members, they were hoping that our meetings would lead to improvements in things that we already have, more housing, updating our website, focusing on our current residents so that we don't lose citizens. Just different things that we were hoping, and this was at the very beginning, the first night, so it was kind of neat to watch as we went through how all of these things kept coming up in further conversations as we were going through our booklet. This question was presented to everybody that was a part of the committee and the different reasons that they became members of the community. It was just interesting that we kind of had a little bit of everybody on the committee. Our second session was how our community stacks up to other communities. And then we had a little outside assignment that we were to observe things that go on around our community and bring that back, and the things that they came up with on our second session that they noticed that maybe they hadn't noticed before, or something that stood out to them. And we had a list of all those things. That we come together as a community when we need to increase competition for internet service was something we talked about. We want to have signs around town so that people know what Sutherland has to offer, since everybody just kind of zips by on Highway 10 or on the county blacktop on the other side. We want to try and figure out how we can put ourselves out on the edges so that they can see who we are in the middle. And these are some of the things that people look for when they are moving to a new community, and we kind of went through, ranked them ourselves. We had also another outside assignment that we were to ask other citizens of what they thought, and the top three things, as you can see there, were safety, lower cost of living, and a slower pace of life is what the people who were questioned said that they would like to have in a community they were moving to. We also had discussion on what people look for in a new community. We talked about medical services and recreation, how we wish we had bike trails, and how the school system impacts. We really wish that we had a school here, but the school system that we are involved with is very good, so that helps. We have some inexpensive housing, and we're very lucky that we have a grocery store and a variety store. The discussion also included the makeup of our current population and who we want to attract to the community, and how our challenges on recruiting new people. Our third session is why would people want to move here? And our discussion there included strengths and challenges on how to attract new residents. And if there's a lot more of the details, if you guys look through, and most of everything, there's questions at the tops, and then what we discussed along the way. And also, I think you can feel free to, anybody that was on the committee, ask if you need more details, but we really talked about lots and lots of things. We talked about how we need improved housing, and it needs to be affordable housing, and then marketing what our community has to offer, and how to create alliances with existing groups to promote ourselves. Like if the school already has some kind of a pamphlet that they pass out to people of the communities that they can live in, or if we have different groups within the city that are, promoting, that we can all get together and try to do a group effort rather than individuals. We talked about what can we do, and we discussed being able to promote the Willoway, Dog Creek, Prairie Heritage for our recreation, emphasize and improve our trails, and then create new affordable housing and gathering places, possibly like a coffee house. In our fourth session, we talked about our action steps to promote our community. And we reflected back on like who's coming here and why, what skills we would really like if we have businesses here that need employees, who do we need to target, what is our competitive advantage, and what groups match up with our assets. So the groups are kind of finding the people who are good at promoting, or what areas they're good at, and then tap into using them. And ultimately then we came up with our marketing plan, which our target market, we would like to attract young families with children, and the benefits that we have to offer is a safe community, a lower cost of living, and we have many outdoor recreational opportunities. Our overall message we want to have is small town values with lots to offer. And some of the techniques we had come up with to get our marketing plan out there is signage to promote our town and businesses, an updated website, using ICANN for TV advertising, pamphlet improvement, which we have a pamphlet. It's and each one of these items in the bottom here are listed on a separate page, and we're going to have everybody get some sticky notes or dots, or you can just write on there. We're going to have you give your input on if you think those are good ideas, bad ideas, if you're willing to help with those ideas. But there's a pamphlet attached to the paper for that shows what's there, and we looked at it and we thought it needed some improvement. And then we also would like to create a campaign to promote Sutherland in surrounding town celebrations. So like when Paulina has their jamboree, we'd like to have some kind of plan in place to be able to go over there and let people know that Sutherland's here too. And for every other town around here that has a celebration, do that same thing so that everybody knows we're here. Because I heard from the banks that had they known we were here, they would have been here sooner. So instead of just moving a year ago, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they found out, they were like, we wish we would have known sooner. So hopefully in promoting and marketing that we can get ourselves out there sooner. And then thank you again. Your attendance is important and your input is valuable.
Anybody have any questions? The individual marketing plan items that the group came up with, as Sharon indicated, are listed one to a sheet here. And what I wanted to do was give anybody an opportunity if they have any additional things that they'd like to add, any ideas that they'd like to at least be considered in terms of for the marketing plan.
Yeah, because we're totally open to any ideas anybody has. This marketing plan is not set in stone. I mean, we may go forward with all 5 things. We may only go forward with 1. We may completely change directions and find something else based on feedback from everybody that's here. Would that be fair to say?
Definitely.
Don't everybody talk at once.
Got a question. And I see the Willoway came up a few times there, and you said like the coffee cafe deal and stuff. And I've been working on stuff like that, or trying to figure out how to do that, or how to get that, because I've got a kitchen in the dining room. I've contacted DMAC and WIT, they both have culinary schools within them. You know, not really knowledgeable. I mean, I contacted their head advisors and stuff, but never have heard from anybody. You know, especially when I did that I think it was in April, saying, you know, graduating seniors would like to come and look at our facility and stuff. Never had any contact. Would being able to work with universities or colleges or, you know, 2-year schools to get, because your deal was young people and with kids, how do we get those people to come here to start a new business and do stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, the nursing home could use people, the hospital could use people that are graduating. You know, how does a community work with the colleges in our area, or farther away? Like I said, I contacted DMAC, because they have a culinary school, and stuff, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, and I will say one of the most important things that we have found in terms of young people looking at places to live or to start a business is the first thing that they're going to do is look online. And that was, you know, this group had mentioned, you know, improving the website, making sure that there's links to different opportunities there, whether it's for, you know, housing that's listed, but other opportunities business-wise as well, might be some possibilities. You know, another thing might be if you'd like to add a suggestion marketing-wise to get a group together to look at doing some sort of a coffee house or something in conjunction with Willoughby. Would that be something that you'd like to add as a possibility?
Well, you had that up there a couple times, the coffee shop. Like I said, probably over a year now I've been working on it. Everybody I see, I ask. I mean, I've even gone to businesses and other communities asking if they'd like to expand. I have a place for them.
Yeah.
And I'm just not knowledgeable in marketing.
You know, another possibility for something like that, you know, you think in terms of somebody trying to start a business and trying to figure out how they're going to make it cash flow. Would it be a possibility for an existing business here in town to add something like that in? You know, kind of as another revenue stream for them? Anybody else in terms of ideas? Yes?
I'm a member of the Sutherland Community Fund Board, okay? And it's an entity of the city of Sutherland. And we are presently working on updating the pamphlet that we have in now and adding some new ideas for people to fund our fund to attract new people. And one of the things that we are planning on doing with our celebration that we have in September on Labor Day is to target maybe those that graduated 50 years ago, 60 years ago, send out the pamphlet with a letter. If they're going to have a reunion maybe in September, and then also send a pamphlet and say, these are the things that we as the committee are working on to improve our community, and if anybody had any, because usually by the time you're out of school, 50, 60 years, maybe you have had some extra money and are willing to invest back into the community where they graduated.
Sure.
So we are working on that right now, so.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Yes.
Sharon, you mentioned going to other communities. You know, obviously, jobs are going to bring young people here, and we have a limited amount of those. But you know, you talked about like Paulina, but what about like Cherokee? I think that those are a lot more.
Yeah,
I
just use Paulina
Yep,
as an example
yep.
because they're here, but yeah, definitely. I mean, because almost every town within
Yep.
50 miles of us has some kind of
Yep.
ours is Labor Day, Paulina's is the Jamboree. Peterson has their Patoot days and maybe another one,
Yeah.
you know, everybody has one. It'd just be nice to have something to make our presence
And I think
there.
there's a difference when you go to the larger town because their price of housing is usually more substantial than ours, and that usually can be a bigger draw
Yeah.
in realizing, hey, this is a great bedroom community.
Right, so a Cherokee, a Spencer.
Yeah.
Even a Sheldon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. But even being at the smaller towns, I think too.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't, but I'm.
Would benefit too, you know, because a lot of times there's people from every community goes to wherever the town is having their celebration.
It just might be something different that you market in the price of.
We might be,
yeah.
take a bigger presence with us
Yeah.
to the bigger towns, definitely. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
I just had a question, and it's just something I didn't quite understand, because there was I think in one of the areas there, you talked about the internet and better.
Just one of the things we talked about one of the nights was, and I don't remember which exactly it fell under. I'd probably be better off.
But it was just having,
We
more than
wanted
one
to,
option.
we wanted to be able to have options for internet. Do you remember which one it was?
I'm trying to remember. I know it had to do with the having options, because right now we have Westel.
We only
And
have
that's
pretty much one
the-
service option.
For high-speed internet. There's
Yeah.
other, like,
Evertech.
those are available, but they aren't as quick. And for me, I work from home and I need the high speed. So when I was looking around, I was only able to get the one option. And they're kind of expensive and they're capped. So if I'm trying to stream data and have that usage for working from home, it limits my abilities, unless if I'm paying the crazy price tag, which is what I do because that's what I need to do to live here.
Right.
The reason I brought that up is during the winter, we spend a couple of months out in California, and I will tell you that our internet service out there is extremely poor compared to here.
No. And we have very good internet service here because it is fiber optic. It's fantastic, don't get me wrong. It's just, there's not a lot of competition for it.
Yes.
If you're looking for that fiber optic or a quicker option.
What you're saying is it's fairly expensive, and they need competition.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Or at least to drop the data cap, then I don't care anymore.
But then also look at your target audience, where most of us sitting in the room are fine with what we have, but you get to a younger generation, they want to stream videos, they want to stream music, they want to play games.
Exactly. And I cut them off because it's like, I can't do it.
So to draw, if we want to draw a new in, we want to draw a millennial group in, we need to be able to have that
And see,
option.
I need the faster
Because they're gonna
for
bring in
conference
two kids,
calls.
and the two kids want to watch YouTube, Peppa Pig, and stream music.
Yep.
A lot of them don't do cable anymore. It's
Right.
all the Netflix and the
Should I add that as a possibility in terms of improve?
I think if that's your target audience.
Do you want another paper?
Well, yeah, because if
Either
we want
that
to
or
bring in
I
the younger
put it in
families,
mine.
we're gonna need that as
Whichever
an
you want.
option.
I'll just add it at the bottom of this one.
They're online.
I'll go,
They look at online.
Six.
With more and more people being able to work from their homes, that is an important issue, very important issue.
Yeah, so it's kind of looking at that target audience, that age group.
Is this okay? Improve internet access, price, competition.
Speed,
Capacity.
Okay. Anything else I should add? Should I add something about the coffee house?
How about just a regular restaurant?
more of a steakhouse or more of a.
that came up in our discussions as well a lot, or a family style sit-down restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe explore.
Building back in more on marketing, finding a person that wants to come in and do it, and it takes a while to get a reputation out. Once you build that reputation, it will come.
Right.
Then you gotta stay.
Right.
Anything else?
I would say I would build off of, you have update website to, I guess, my younger generation. They're not gonna go to the website as much as they are like a Facebook page. I would prefer a Facebook page where I can read my city minutes. I can see my coupons for my restaurants in town or my grocery store. Anything, if there's open houses, if there's houses for rent, I want it all in one spot. And I want to be able to click on it and go to that link if I want to see it.
Agreed.
I don't want to have to go to 5 different web pages for every business in town. I want that link to go. And I think that getting that information out to the younger community is really important. I feel like half the time I'm lost. Oh, when's the Easter egg hunt? No clue.
Ditto.
You know, I don't make it to Cargo once a week. You know, I don't make it to the post office. And I don't make it down here.
If I'm not getting notifications on the phone, I don't have a clue what's going on.
Okay.
So I think
Do you want me
that's
to
huge. I
add
think
to this, the Facebook, or do you want me to make it a separate thing?
And we have a Facebook page, we just need to.
the community needs to work together.
Yes.
All the businesses need to work together to have that whatever committee of people that are gonna manage that page and keep stuff coming on there from all the businesses.
And I
Because
think-
that can only help promote all the businesses in town, as well as any activities that you have going on in town.
And you touched on a huge point that we did discuss in our meetings is the availability of rental homes or just houses to purchase or anything to that effect, because when I moved here, it was word of mouth to try to find a house. And luckily Jane Austen had one.
I found ours on Facebook.
I would like to say too, and I don't live in town here, I live over in Granville, but Doug Sweeney does a nice job, so I know what's happening if I want to come over here.
I will tell you with the young kids, Facebook is really important.
It lets
Well, really stupid.
Well,
That's what
but
we're
at the same time, some people are moving away from Facebook and more towards Instagram or Twitter and all those other things.
Yeah, social media is where, what it needs to be rather than.
It just can't be Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna add that onto the updated website and talk about basically a social media, internet presence.
But I think our website needs to be updated as well, because it's very old looking.
Definitely.
I think you have to think about what crowd you're trying to reach, because each social media hits a different group.
Like Snapchat is huge with a certain age.
New graduates, indeed. They're using it for jobs.
Like looking for jobs.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of them out there, it's just who are you want to target.
Anything else? What I'm gonna do is I've got these little dots, it doesn't matter what color you take, but I want everybody to take 3 dots, and I'm gonna have you vote on which things you wanna prioritize. So you can put all your dots on one, or you can put one, and so this is gonna be one, this is gonna be another one. You know, where there's 2, you go underneath the things. For the one where there's just 1, you can put it wherever on there. So I'll give everybody 3 dots, and I'll put you on you're on your honor that you don't take more dots, right?
Trying to sway the vote. How many of these meetings have you done in the area?
You mean in terms of, for this program?
Yeah.
We, here in O'Brien County Extension was very interested in offering this program. So Hartley's working on it, Paulina's working on it, and Sutherland. Sheldon had kind of acted interested in it, but they really haven't followed through on it. So that's who's working here in O'Brien County. Boone actually just is sort of finishing up. The city of Boone has done it and been kind of going gangbusters on it.
Do you need both?
So out of.
Yes?
Yeah. It's hard for you to say what has worked, what some of the communities found that have worked for them, or.
You know what, it kind of depends. I think the whole visibility on social media has been a big deal, and it has made a difference in terms of, like she mentioned, you know, your website not looking quite so old, it having pictures of people, you know, doing things versus just pictures of buildings.
Makes a huge difference to it. Somebody from my era looking at it, you see buildings, you're like, all right.
Yeah. So then the other, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say about social media, particularly Facebook. I have had great success in drawing in new tenants through Facebook.
Okay.
Most of them
Still voice your opinion. I'm interested in this.
And I love the idea, whoever brought it up, thank you, of having everything interlinked to a single page where all the businesses go out, where we can post our availability, so anybody just browsing will find it. That would be a great asset to the businesses as well as to the city.
Sure.
Yeah, because when we first moved to town, if it wasn't for Jane telling me what we had here, I wouldn't even known.
Okay.
Because there was no way I saw Jane's advertisement and I found housing, but I didn't know all the other things the community had to offer.
Yeah.
Now I can go back to Spencer and tell my friends, hey, you should move here.
We've got a house open, Belva. We've got a house open.
The other thing I'm gonna do is I've got these Post-it notes, and I'm gonna put some back there, I'll have some up here. What I want you to do is write your name and put your phone number too. I know if you haven't signed in on a sign-in sheet, please do that too, there's some back there. For which ones of these you're interested in helping with, getting involved with. So like I said, if you put your name, and I'll have you put a star on one, for example. You can't just nominate everybody. But for example, if you know that the Economic Development Group would like to get involved with this, you can put Economic Development Group and put a star by it. Or my neighbor is real involved in brochure kind of stuff, and I think she'd like to be involved, so I'm going to put a star and I'm going to put her name and contact information there too. But I'm really looking for you guys to show where you're interested in working. Because that's one thing. You know, when I do something like this and I ask people to put your priorities, if we see something up here that is the big #1 priority, but there's no sticky notes on it, it's not a priority, right? How big of a priority is it for your community if nobody's willing to work on it? So, as I said, please, and then also I think there's cookies and bars and that, so we'll give everybody about, 5 minutes or so to mill around, grab something to eat, put your dots up, put a sticky note up, and then we'll kind of reconvene.
And the pink lemonade is sugar lemonade, the regular color lemonade is sugar-free. And then I think the regular coffee is in the white pot and the decaf is in the copper colored pot for coffee. So, feel free.
That's what I'm ready for. For our meeting, we actually have